I'm not going to lie. I didn't expect this to be the video. I didn't expect this to be the video that became the priority for me this month. Out of all the books that I've read, out of everything on my TBR, I always read my books and then I just see which ones hit me the most and impact me the most as to which ones get a dedicated book review. And this one really kind of snuck up on me. I've been working my way through all of the books, or a lot of the books that were my favorite childhood movies that I really grew up watching were based on. And this just happened to be the one that came up next. And I expected to like it. That's true. But what I didn't expect was the sheer level of magic and greatness that is The Last Unicorn. It's a rare man who is taken for what he truly is, he said. There is much misjudgment in the world. Now I knew you for a unicorn when I first saw you, and I know that I am your friend. Yet you take me for a clown, or a clod, or a betrayer. And so must I be, if you see me so. The magic on you is only magic, and will vanish as soon as you are free. But the enchantment of error that you put on me, I must wear forever in your eyes. We are not always what we seem, and hardly ever what we dream. This book transports you completely, and it is so beautifully written. The prose is elegant and beautiful, but it's also simplistic. It's simplistic enough for the kids to understand it, because essentially this is a children's book. But at the same time, it is a children's book. It's a fantasy book, and it's also written in this prose, in this style, with this very adult language, in this very adult way, but it's still simple enough and light enough that the kids can read it and fully understand it. And as with any good fairy tale, it is teaching you lessons, and it's teaching just as many lessons to the adults that go and choose to pick it up and read it as it is the kids. And right from the start, you're dropped into this world, and it is magical, and it is mythical, and it is wonderful, it's surreal, and it's extremely innocent. But also at the same time, there's an emptiness to it. Something's missing. There's like a hollowness there. And that, of course, is the missing unicorns. Our unicorn is the last, and there is an emptiness to her and her existence, but she's not really aware of it, because she's not really hyper aware of certain things, certain emotions, certain feelings, certain things that we would find normal. She doesn't, because she is something else entirely. This feeling then permeates the story, and it's going to add this feeling of melancholy and sadness, this thread that runs through the entire story. And it runs mainly through the other characters that kind of revolve around her in the story, but it's mostly lost on her. She misses it because she doesn't understand it. But then as we go throughout the story, she comes to understand a great many things. This is ultimately a story about growing and evolving and changing. And it becomes the fairy tale of kind of everything and everyone all at the same time. The amount of things that you can take from this small of a book is quite astonishing. I was so surprised. It is a story of duality, and it is doing two things at once, almost at all times, in pretty much every sentence. It is a story about growing up, while exactly simultaneously being a story about growing old. It is a story of innocence lost and humanity gained through the eyes of a creature that is learning for the first time how to love, while simultaneously learning regret, and all of the joy and sadness that entails, all in 300 pages. It's phenomenal. And the sadness in this book is real. As you're going through it, you're like, this is a fairy tale and this was written for kids. And this is torturous at times. Legitimately, it's like you want a feel good story. And a lot of the times you're like, I feel bad. This book makes me feel bad. I don't know what is happening here. It's so crushing at times, the melancholy and the sadness that can overtake you when you're going through this book. But on the flip side of that, so is the beauty and the hope and the joy that this book brings at certain parts. And then when you really put it into perspective and you realize that this is a book essentially about growing, and then you realize that growing up and growing old, growing at all, isn't easy. It's very, very hard. And then this book makes it look hard. It feels bad at times. It feels good at times. It is doing so much with so little. It's a very heavy book. The subject matter, the emotions, the themes, everything about this book is so heavy. It is also then told in just a way that lightens it. Beagle takes the language and the prose and the way he approaches it, and he adds just enough whimsy that he lightens the load. He doesn't ever make it feel too heavy or too unbearable as you're going through the story. He makes it light with the way that he chooses to write it, the way he describes things, the way the words and the language and just the beauty of the language itself makes everything feel just a little bit lighter. And all the while, these beautiful metaphors are running through the center of this book and all of the themes, and we're watching these characters pick up all of these different emotional burdens and all of this pain and all of this loss and these burdens, these stones that they will end up ultimately having to carry for the rest of their lives. But then ultimately, would you trade that? Would you carry a specific burden if the exchange for it was having a friend or learning a new emotion, learning how to love, learning how to care, learning what that means? Is that worth the trade-off of the burden, the opposite of that emotion that now is going to burden you for the rest of your life? If the trade-off for learning and understanding true, deep, and genuine love was also understanding true regret, would you make that choice? Then, at the end of the day, do we even get the choice? Is it just something that happens to you? Is it just a part of who we are, and it is just a part of growing? Like I said, this is somehow the story of everything, and most importantly, what it means to be human. And it's told by a character that's not even a human, which is just the right alienated perspective enough for him to pull us outside of ourselves and put us into something different in order to tell us the most human story that he possibly could, just so that we can see the evolution, see the process, see how it works, and see, most importantly, how it feels, what it feels like to be human. And if that comes with the happiness and the joy, it's going to come with the melancholy and the sadness. And he doesn't blink or shy away or look away in any way. He just really focuses in on it and just lets it be what it is, for better or worse. This book is so effective and affecting. It is so wonderful and beautiful in all of the right ways. I teared up so many times while reading this book for all of the right reasons. The love, the loss, the hope, the sadness, and the despair. The characters in this book were a gift to me, but at the same time, they received so many gifts in the story. But then the gifts were never free. They always came at a cost, and that cost is subjective. Then you, as the reader, can view it subjectively. So you can view the book as a book about hope. You can also read it as a book about despair, or you can read about it as a book about balance. It's all about how you look at it. And if you choose to look at it as a book about balance, then it's not about hope or despair. It's a book about life and what it means to exist at all. Anyway, I say masterpiece. I say brilliant. I say beautiful. I say 10. This is a 10. I can't give it any other score. It was one. If this is not on my list of the greatest books at top 10 at the end of the year, I will be truly shocked. It is that good. It is that wonderful. I can't give it anything but the highest praise and the highest recommendation. Anyway, As always, everybody, the link for my Patreon's in the description below. The link for my Discord's in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.